This is the future.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another Steelpath series. Today we're covering Jordas Golem. Let's take a look at some of the builds. First, the Warframe. Now, there are a lot of ways you can go with this. I mean, I brought kind of a whatever build, to be honest, but it really doesn't take too much. The more power strength you have in your chroma, the better. Okay, now you can see here I used Hunter Adrenaline. I was just lazy, I didn't really bother taking it out, but you can put it in there if you don't have some of the necessary tools, but we'll get to that later. The most important thing though is that you do have a high amount of power strength. Now you can go with Grace as well for Arcanes. Avenger is pretty good too. Honestly, it's a one-shot fight, so the Arcanes aren't really that important. If you have to shoot 4 or 5 times, then in my opinion you've done it differently or incorrectly, whatever you want to go with. But anyway, yeah, and I'll talk about why later as we get to the operator section. But the most important part is really that you have a high power strength chroma. Now the aura you can swap out for growing power. You can go with Deadeye. That's completely up to you. There are a lot of ways you can go with this build. So yeah, just letting you know, stack all that, you know, all the power strength mods: Blind Rage, Transient Fortitude, Augur Secrets, Umbral Intensify, or Regular Intensify. And that's pretty much it. Now as for the sniper rifle, we're going to look at the Rubico Prime because that's what I like to use. It's hit scan, it's fast. You can go with the Lanka, you can go with, you know, Snipetron Vandal, you can go with whatever you want. It really doesn't matter, Vectis Prime, as long as you mod for corrosive. And the reason why is because this particular boss that we're fighting is vulnerable to corrosive. Actually, there are 2 bosses in this, and they're both vulnerable to corrosive. So you want to mod for corrosive damage. Now, as you can see here in the Rubico, I do not have Serration, and I also do not have Heavy Caliber. When another Warframe uses this type of rifle, I recommend using those types of mods because you get the biggest bang for your buck. In this case though, Chroma is the one that's going to be pretty much your Serration and Heavy Caliber. He functions as a damage multiplier, so it's actually better to bring elemental mods on your Warframe. So that's the reason why, just quickly taking a look at it, I mean, I modded for strictly pretty much corrosive and boosting the corrosive with high voltage. Yeah, I didn't bring Heavy Caliber and I didn't bring Serration. Okay, Vigilante armaments also, that's pretty important. Now I did put in Vigilante supplies. That's not necessary either because you're going to be using Vigilante supplies a little bit later. I'll explain that. First, let's get into the Arcwing. Okay, Arcwing, it actually doesn't matter. It's your Arcgun, that's what matters. Your Arcgun, you want to use corrosive as well. And notice here, I use Prime Rubito Line Barrel. Same thing with Chroma. I mean, you're not going to have the Vex Armor active, so, you know, I recommend actually bringing primed Rubito Line Barrel. A lot of people think, oh, okay, so I'm going to be dropping down my Arcgun from the heavens and whatever, blowing him away. No, you're going to be in your Arcwing, so you really want to make sure that you actually have the damage mods on your Velocitus. Now, as you can see, we built for crit. We have the standard multi-shot, things like that. Riven is not a must. It's nice to have it, especially with crit chance, because the Velocitus is, wow, that's a hard word to say. Crit chance is not really all the best, I guess. So having the additional crit is nice. But if you don't want to min-max that point, it really doesn't matter. If you have to take a second shot, go ahead, but I don't think it's going to get to that point. And yeah, so I'm just going to replace my charged bullets with Prime Rubito Line Barrel, as you can see right now. And that's pretty much it. It's modded for corrosive and crit. That's pretty much all you need. As for the operator tree, Madurai is going to be our focus tree. And the reason why is because if any of you Eidolon hunt, you're going to know this node. It's called Void Strike. If those of you who don't know it, get it. It's really huge. It'll help your Eidolon hunting, that's number 1. It'll also allow you to one-shot the bosses that really need to be one-shot. Void Strike is really, really big. It allows you, while you stay stealth, it fuels your damage output, and that applies to Warframe weapons, Arcwing, it doesn't matter. So that's actually the big secret of this. You also want to have Void Flow, that's for energy pool, Void Siphon for recovering your energy, your operator energy, and also Mind Sprint for being able to dash a lot. well, it says it dashes faster, but that actually equals dashes farther. So you won't, I mean, these aren't musts, but they're really huge quality of life nodes, so you want to get those. Moving on to the carrier. Now the carrier is pretty simple. The carrier itself just modded to survive. That's not really the important part. The most important part is actually the carrier weapon. So let's take a look at that really quick. As you can see here, I'm not actually using the carrier to attack. I recommend actually removing the attack mod from your carrier and just stack on as many vigilante mods as you can. And the reason why? They stack with your Rubico vigilante armaments. Okay. Now taking a look at the operator arcanes, it's the standard loadout: repair, lockdown. They're musts for Steelpath. I mean, they just make it so much better. So make sure you have those. Alright, let's get on to the boss. Alright, now that we're on the ground, as you can see, right away I go into the void on my operator. And as you can see, I'm just going to stay in the void for most of this. Now before you go on and skip, oh, this is boring, some tips. You really want to stay in the void, and you also want to dash through as many enemies as you can. As you can see here, the lockdown is activating, so I'm CCing things. But at the same time, I'm trying to also dash through the enemies. And if you watch the bottom right, as I do this, you'll see my energy go back up time to time. The more enemies I hit with the dash, the more energy I recover or recuperate. Okay. If I do run out of energy, that's when Void Siphon really kicks in. That's when you just go into your Warframe, keep moving forward, etc., etc. And while you're doing that, you want to watch that dial on the bottom right side. Okay. And as you can see here, I'm at 6.62 damage multiplier. That's going to stack with the Chromas Vex Armor. So any damage I take, and that turns into massive damage, that also stacks with Void Strike, creating really big boom damage. So that's the secret. Alright, now we're approaching the boss. Before you go in there, you want to actually activate your Vex Armor. It just makes things a little bit easier. You don't have to deal with the activating it right in front of the boss. So he hits pretty hard. You probably don't want to do that. So open the door. Any enemies that are around, you press 3 to activate it. You don't have to press 2. It's not really essential, and you don't really need. The fight doesn't last long. You'll see. And right now, I'm giving them my back to charge up my, my Vex Armor to max, which is 957%, and we're going to engage the boss. Now, just keep this in mind. If you're an operator, the boss doesn't actually come out 100%. You need to place your Warframe there. All right, the boss does his attack, and make sure that I'm scoped to maximum for extra crit damage. Boom, done. That's pretty much it.
Dio! ほう、向かってくるのか。逃げずにこのディオに近づいてくるのか。近づかなきゃ、てめえをぶちのめせないんでな。ほうほう。では十分近づくがよい。無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄無駄。
Yuru, Dio.
Ho, Makata Karuno Ka, Nijitsu ni Kono Dio ni Chikazuite Karuno Ka.
Chikazu Kanaka Teme wo Buchi no Mi Tinain Dina.
Ho ho, Diwa Juaban Chikazukanai Yui. Muda 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 muda.
Alright, Now you'll notice that when we get into the Arcwing portion, look to the top right, you'll still see the multiplier there. That applies to your Arcwing gun, and that's it. Alright, I know that some of you guys, you struggle with this type of content, so that's why I make these guides. Hopefully you found it helpful, and if you did, please like and subscribe, really would appreciate it, and see you guys in the next one. Peace!